Okay, it's 10 o'clock. We're going to start the presentation. Just wanted to thank everybody for joining us today. Again, I know it's a new world, new way of doing business, and we're looking at running these tech talks, these virtual tech talks on either a Tuesday or a Thursday over the next month or two. Right now, we have the May agenda out. Bob will talk a little bit about the other ones that are coming up, but this one is on visualization, in particular, Rockwell's Panelview 5000. And again, we're fortunate to have Bob Berry, who's our senior automation specialist, running the presentation. He's got PLC, HMI, motion, and software is his area of domain expert. So you can always reach out to him afterwards or me if you have interest in any of the products or software we're going to show here. Some housekeeping. We are recording this session, and we ask that everybody mute themselves, or I will be muting you. There is a chat if you are available or want to ask questions during the presentation. I ask that you put in the chat room, and we will go over them at the end. We will also open it up so that you can unmute yourself at the end, and you could also just ask out any questions at the end. Again, this is being recorded. It's well under an hour. It's probably 45 minutes. And again, I appreciate you all signing up. With that, Bob, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, John. Appreciate everybody for joining us today. So just to review the agenda that we're going to talk about a digital minute with Rexel USA Today website, how that can help you out. We'll talk about smart machines and smart manufacturing. You'll hear more about that this year. And then we'll go into the details of the Panelview 5000, what benefits and features that can give you. And then I'll do a short demo to demo some of these benefits. And yeah, we'll close with some training and some questions and answers if you have any. So looking at the RexelUSA.com website, that's a great tool you can use. The manager account can be tied into your Rexel account. So a nice feature is you could create and save BOMs in Excel and then import them in to Rexel USA. So that can streamline your order process, make it easier for you to place orders. So another nice feature is the finding out availability. I'm sure everybody needs that quickly these days. So yeah, as John mentioned, when we're kind of shut down a little bit for the coronavirus here, I think this would be a great tool for you to use. It has a lot of literature information, training information that we offer. So we're a full service electrical distributor, right? So we're talking about automation today. So let's start talking about our HMI portfolio. So this is a picture that kind of shows our capability. So we've had Panelview Pluses for the last 15 years, plus 15 years, right? So we considered these in the lower left section here of this chart, machine level HMIs, hardened HMIs, and Panelview Pluses have been programmed with FactoryTalk View Machine Edition. So as we go up the chart here, right, our focus today is Panelview 5000. So we're talking about that, our latest new modern HMI. But on the high end here in the top right, we have PC-based SCADA HMI capability with FactoryTalk View Site Edition. You might have heard that called SC throughout the years. So just another overview of the portfolio. Panelview 800 is a low-cost component level HMI, and our main horse like I said, for the last 15 plus years have been Panelview Pluses. And the latest model out right now is the Panelview Plus 7 with the standard and performance. You might have seen the reused Panelview Plus 6s over the years. So those are starting to be phased out. Some are being phased out in September, end of life. So we have Rockwell has a nice end of life website you can look at to understand more details on that. But yeah, Panelview Plus 7 is our latest and greatest. No plans to obsolete Panelview Plus 7. But we'll be transitioning into Panelview 5000s with the new modern features that you'll see and the capability it has. And if you need a mobile capability, we have that with our mobile view. It's a tethered mobile pendant with a knee stop button on it. So it can help you out in certain situations. So let's talk about smart machines. How do I make smart machines? As I mentioned, we're going to be talking a lot this year at Rexel with all our customers about smart machines and smart.
Never mind, I figured it out.
Hey, Bob, you're muted, Bob. Unmute yourself. Go down to the space bar and sorry. And go back to your presentation. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Just start on the screen again. Thanks.
Okay. Yes. So you're going to see more information this year coming out of Rexel with smart machines and making smart manufacturing equipment. So there's a lot of pieces, parts that make up a smart machine, from smart sensors. You see we have a smart sensor offering. It wouldn't be nice to maybe replace a cylinder with something smart like a servo drive. So all this, including the HMI that we'll be talking about today, make sure your machine's smart. But one of the big components of making a smart machine is logging data, right? Once you have data, you can start to make decisions. Now, wouldn't it be nice to know that, on shift 2, my manufacturing line or piece of equipment isn't producing? Why is that? You can start to get OEE type data and find out what your top downtime causes or what's causing downtime on the particular shift. So then once we get the data, right, we can start to analyze it. You start to see some products coming out that already been released from Rockwell as far as analytics. One product is Factory Talk Analytics for devices. Especially good if you have a large install base of the VFDs. So with this appliance, it'll go out and discover up to 100 devices and start to give you information and warn of possible issues. So you start to see more analytics as time goes by here. Let's start talking about Panelview 5000. So it's part of the Studio 5000 design environment is the View Designer. So we got all these components in this Studio 5000 with the architect to help you start to design your system. The Logix Designer software, which you're probably all familiar with. It's always been called Logix 5000 in the past, but now we call it Studio 5000 Logix Designer. Then we have library management tools like the Application Code Manager, the Emulator, so we could test code on a PC, and some simulation interface modules. But today we're talking about Studio 5000 View Designer. You see how nicely it's integrated in with the Logix 5000 controller. So let's take a look at the hardware. So we have 2 models on the Panelview 5000. We have a 5310 and a 5510. You see how we got enhanced features built in to the software and into the Panelviews to make your experience more efficient and productive. So it's one software package now that comes with Studio 5000, whereas in the past you might have to buy ME Studio for your Panelview Pluses. So let's take a look at the 5510. It's the more advanced terminal. Large screen size from 7 all the way up to 19-inch. A both resistive touchscreen with the navigation button. So by that navigation button, I mean this little button I'm putting my cursor on the bottom right of the screen. That's what we call the navigation button. Then there's also keypad only models if you need that. Some other features, we got dual Ethernet ports on it for different Ethernet topologies, whether it be a ring or a linear network. And they're available in AC and DC power. And taking a look at the 5310 terminal, so it's for smaller applications for up to 12-inch wide screens, from a 6 to 12-inch wide screen. Some of the other differences is it has a single Ethernet port, and it's only available in DC power. So those are the two graphic terminals for Panelview 5000s. So let's take a look at that navigation button I talked about. This is really a nice, efficient, smart feature on the Panelview 5000s. Wouldn't it be nice where you don't have to use your screen space up for navigation? So with that navigation button, what this is trying to animate is your navigation bar will now scroll up from the bottom of the screen. That leaves you more space to draw the content that you need to visualize your machine or your process. You can see on the right side here, start to get into the view designer, how the navigation is done. Pretty simple. How you add navigation in. You just right click on that navigation button and start to add navigation. And it automatically comes in. You don't have to drag or drop it. Once you configure the navigation objects in the view designer, they automatically appear on your navigation menu. Of course, you can do traditional navigation with buttons on the screen, but this is a new feature built in the Panelview 5000s in View Designer. Another nice smart feature is the system default banner. It's already pre-configured for you. You'll see that we have pre-configured screens in View Designer. So it does things like alarm notification, indicate that you have an alarm active. You can also do screen navigation with these back and forward buttons, do security log on. There's also that navigation button that's on the 5510. I should mention, so on the 5310, you don't see that navigation button on the physical unit. That's only on the 5510. So that would be up on your banner area. You can also customize the banner if you need it, but it comes pre-configured. It also has other smart features, like it'll let you know if you're not communicating with your controller, an object will show up, or if you're having network issues. So it's a lot of value-adding features built into this pre-configured banner. So another nice feature is advanced diagnostics. In the past, maybe you'd have to use the diagnostic viewer, but in Panelview 5000, your object will have an issue. You see that red X icon to let you know, hey, I got some issue. So in this case here, it's saying that the tag does not exist in the controller, so it can't animate that object. On the right side of the screen, you can see we have other diagnostics, such as for your HMI, it would give you CPU utilization or how much memory is being used. It'll give you on this controller pop-up, it will give you what the IP address of your controller is and how many connections are being used. And similar for a network, we have a network pre-configured screen. So let's take a look at the View Designer software. So that's an overview of the Panelview 5000 hardware and some of its features. Now I'm going to transition into the View Designer itself. So some of the intuitive design environment that you'll see and how it can help you out to make you more efficient and productive. So this is the View Designer project that you'd have open. So different panes that help you create your application. So on the top right here is your properties pane, where you start to assign tags to a screen. So if you see a little icon, as I do my demo, I'll show you. These little icons pop up. That means you can assign a controller tag to it that either animate that property or change it, whether it be maybe you want to change the color, animate the color. That's how you, as you're navigating through your application, how you can bind properties and tags to your application. So on the top left there is what we call the Project Explorer, and I'll demo that to you, how that is constructed. But that's where you're creating your navigation, your user-defined screens. That's where the predefined screens are located. And on the bottom left is the toolbox where you use objects that are pre-configured, whether it be a button or a numeric input, for instance, to drag that onto your screen that you're trying to create. And of course, the canvas area that's in the middle of the screen where you're drawing your application, and the Graphic Explorer. So where you have maybe a more complex screen where you have objects grouped together, that's where you can drill down into your objects with the Graphic Explorer. So how can you increase productivity? So this is about using vector scale graphics. So you'd have one application for different screen sizes. Here we're showing a 10 and a 19-inch screen. So with one application, we can simply size the application from a smaller size screen to the largest size screen with just configuring the size of the screen. Everything is with the vector scale graphics. Everything is scaled proportionally, and nothing's gonna get moved around on the screen for you. Maybe in the past you'd have to, keep separate applications for different screen sizes. So it's a nice productivity tool. And we have also 1,000 or more objects to help you create your application. They can be animated. So in the past, maybe you just add some static library objects. Now with our Panelview 5000, you could those graphic objects in the library can be animated and linked to controller tags. So this is an add-on graphics capability in the Panelview 5000. So now you can create your own custom objects. Say you have a tank farm or mixers, you can create your own objects and create reusable objects is what AOGs are all about. You could tie them into AOIs in your controller and easily add multiple objects, whether it be a tank or a mixer on your screen very quickly by reusing these objects, add-on graphics. And we also have extended tag properties that came out in E24 of Logix 5000 Designer. So that allows you to you don't have to create as many tags basically with the extended property. So for instance, you might have a process set point or a process value. And with the extended tag properties, the max and min is already going to come along for the ride. So you don't have to create another tag, say, to create a min or a max value. So you can browse to those extended tag properties in the View Designer. So a nice new feature is multi-version support. So if you use Panelview Pluses in the past, you'd probably realize you only could have one version of ME Studio loaded on your PC. So with View Designer, we can have multiple versions loaded on. So as machine builders are, building different projects throughout the years, you can have version 5 loaded on, version 6, etc. as more feature releases become available. So we have data logging capability up to 250 tags in a circular file. That could be either stored on a USB stick or an SD card and easily exported to a CSV file. So we can log tags down to 500 milliseconds, a half second. Yes, you need to do something that quick. So very easy to configure. So for instance, we can save, if you're trying to log something very fast, say half a second, and we can save that data for 30 days on a 4 gig card. So quite a bit of data for a machine level HMI. Then historical trending, very easy to configure. It automatically detects that you have a tag configured for that's been data logged, so it'll show the real-time data as well as the historical data. You don't have to tie a data log to a historical trend for you. It's got that smart capability in the background to know that's a historical tag. So then we also have an emulator capability. What this allows you to do is to test your application on a PC without having a physical Panelview 5000 in front of you. One little caveat I'd have to mention about it is you still need a controller to communicate with, to animate and test your screens. Hopefully in the next release or so, we'll be able to tie in that emulate 5000, so we have the controller emulated too. At that point, everything would be located in the PC and allow you to test out. So a nice feature would be is VNC support. That allows you to remotely connect into your Panelview. Maybe help out a customer out in the field, especially times like today where we're kind of shut down. So whether it be a tablet or a cell phone, you can remotely help out your customers. And it's secured, so you can build in security to make it a secure access to your customer. Another feature is email notification. So say you got some critical alarm that a supervisor needs to be aware of. We have the email capability, can send an email to a cell phone. They'd get a text to indicate, hey, I have an issue with the machine. So another nice feature, modern capability. Project as events is a new feature we have. So say, for instance, you have some critical event that's detected in your controller. You want to maybe change the screen on an operator. So project events lets you do that. Lets you enable things, disable things. Here in this example, when this mixer level gets to greater than 450, it's going to change the screen on the Panelview to this mixer detail. So kind of things you could animate with your controller code with the project events feature. Then we have removable media, whether it be the USB drive or the SD card. This is nice where you're trying to duplicate number of Panelviews. You can load the application from these drives. You don't need an engineer necessarily, with the View Designer software to load application, as well as, if it needed to replace a Panelview in the middle of the night, you don't need an engineer to do it. You have it saved on a USB or SD card, gives you the capability of loading it on. So let's talk about some enhanced integration. So a big differentiator with the Panelview 5000 is alarming. It's a huge difference from how we've done alarming in the past. So we have two types of what we call controller-based alarms. So the alarms are based in the controller. There's tag-based alarms and there's instruction-based alarms. So what that means is there's no HMI configuration required. Or that was kind of duplicate effort in the past where you had to configure your alarm text in your HMI and the alarm bit or alarm word that triggered the alarm in your controller. So we don't have that anymore. It really streamlines the process, makes it more efficient. So we started tag-based alarm support in V31. And have thousands of alarms, whether it be the tag-based or the instruction-based alarm that are supported. So supports fairly large applications. And the nice thing is, once that alarm is triggered in your controller, it automatically shows up in your alarm banner. I'll explain that in a little bit here. On this next screen, actually. So it uses what's called factory talk alarm events. those, I might have used our factory talk VUSC HMI package that uses factory talk alarm and events. So now Panelview 5000s also subscribe to factory talk alarm and events to streamline your workflow, make it more efficient. So one little caveat I have to mention, so with tag-based alarms, right, it's only supported in compact Logix 5380 right now, down this bottom right corner, 5480, and then the control Logix 5580 controllers. So you have to be up to at least V31 and use these controllers for the tag-based alarming. For the instruction-based alarming, we can still use the L7s or the 5370 compact Logix. So, but the real benefit to the tag-based alarm here is there's no instruction to add. And the alarms are managed through an alarm manager. I'll show you that in my demo. Yeah, so how are tag-based alarms configured? So if you have a tag in your 5000 project, 5000 controller project, right? You right click on it, then you'll see a selection to add alarm, and then this pop up on the right side will appear where you can give that alarm a name, whether it's give it the type of alarm, whether it's a high alarm, a low alarm, a trip alarm, and define the condition. And then this is where you define the message that's going to be sent over to the Panelview. So as I mentioned, we use Alarm Manager in Logix 5000 Designer to view the tags that are configured. So a really nice modern feature that streamlines your alarm process. This is taking a look at the Logix-based, instruction-based alarms. We have an analog alarm instruction, the Alarm A, and the digital alarm instruction called the Alarm D. So a nice feature is the time stamping. The timestamp down to the scan time of the controller now. And if you happen to lose communication, right, that time stamping is still going on in the background. So could potentially save thousands of dollars in lost production. And let's give you a better alarming instead of multiple alarms that come in. You know exactly which alarm was the first one to trigger in the sequence. And that shows as that instruction is triggered, that alarm is going to show up in your alarm banner. So there's another really nice benefit of controller-based alarms. You think about it for a minute, I'm sure you'd probably come up with it, but it's reduced Ethernet traffic. That makes a more efficient HMI in design. Right, your HMI is not pulling your controller for alarms every second. The alarm is being pushed out of the controller when it's triggered. So much more efficient design and reduced Ethernet traffic. So taking a look at the alarm summary screen. So we have filters. We can define the filter in the project. If you want to filter alarms based on what's active, what's been acknowledged. So gives you a nice capability to filter through the alarms. Language switching is always important. Just a simple click of the button there, and you can switch the language. And the language strings in the Logix controller with the extended tag properties as well as the alarm messages will also be changed. So those are due in motion or might have variable frequency drives. This is really a nice new modern feature. Right, we can eliminate hardwired push buttons now. Not only save cost, but make your application look more modern. So what we have is this HMI button control now. You locate that inside the controller. What that does is give you a high-speed button on your touchscreen. So based on the RPI time that you're communicating with the Panelview, right, you could have a 10 millisecond jog button now on your HMI, which you're never able to have before in the past. And another enhanced integration features or faceplates for hardware. We have a no-cost library that supports I/O modules, Ethernet switches, and then power devices like servo drives, PowerFlex drives. A new modern design that more advanced features. Yeah, some of the more advanced faceplates might require an AOI in the controller, like a servo faceplate, for instance. They're free to download from the Product Compatibility and Download Center. That's what we call the PCDC. There's 3 libraries: the I/O, the power, and then the network library. I'm going to take a look at a servo drive faceplate here. There's a Kinetix 5500 servo drive. So it has a lot of value add in these faceplates. Be able to create this from scratch. And what on the left side of the faceplate is your navigation. That'd be the home screen, the I/O, trending tab. So you want to trend motor speed or motor current. Then one of the important ones, especially for servo drives and variable speed drives, or the fault tab. And that's shown over on the right side here. The value add on this is huge. You could have 50, 100 alarms on the servo drive. These are automatically come in on these faceplates. So if you're using servo drives in your applications, start thinking about using these faceplates. I can help you out to get that process started. Just let me know. So just to review some of the summary, some of the benefits and features of the Panelview 5000. Right, a single software package with Studio 5000, and then you've seen some of the enhanced integration. I'll demo some more in this second here. The vector scale graphics, the scale from small screen to large screens, and the modern navigation system. It really this allows you to have more screen space to create your applications. Then the advanced diagnostics and the easy to configure alarms that really make your system more efficient. So I'm going to transition over into my demo. I have a virtual image with the software loaded on it. So here, first thing I want to demo is just go over the Project Explorer with you, so you get a feel for it if you haven't seen it. So in the top left here, the Project Explorer, there's that navigation menu I talked about. So if you simply right click on it, and say you want to add a new shortcut, this would add a new shortcut to a screen, to your menu, navigation menu. So I have Bob's screen created here. So now I just created a button on my navigation button that's going to navigate to this screen called, Bob's screen. Navigating down through the menu, these are your user-defined screens. You create custom for your application. So whether it's going to obviously change from application to application. It's going to have pop-ups in your user-defined screen. Going down into the tree a little bit more is what we call a predefined screen. So all this value add that's part of the Studio 5000 View Designer. There is an example of that pop-up banner I talked about. Here are some of these icons I mentioned, like the network indicator and the controller indicator. So if you have experienced any network issues or controller issues, these will become visible. You could touch them, and information will display to help you troubleshoot the system. So there's a lot of value adding the diagnostics into this banner. You can customize this banner as needed. So there's a whole slew of predefined screens here that help you out. For instance, here's the network settings. If you want to, not sure what your IP address is set to, you could have a button on your screen that might pop up the screen. So that's a quick look at the Project Explorer. How you would start to navigate through that, create screens. So now I want to transition into the emulator. So here I have my application running. Let me just show you the navigation working in real time here too. Right, here's that navigation button. I want to go to the overview screen. Right, you see how that navigation, disappears from the screen. I also can hit the top navigation button. It kind of duplicates the same thing. That's what you'd use on a 5310. This hard button. What isn't on a 5310. It's only on a 5510. So you can see how you can easily start to navigate. I can also have folders in my navigation. So I have an areas folder with a mixer, a couple of mixer screens and a load wrapper. So you can see how you can start to create navigation. Yeah, so let's get into the alarming a little bit. So demonstrate how easy that is. So here's my alarm summary screen. I have a couple alarms on it right now. What I want to do is I'm just going to simulate some alarms in my Logix controller here. So say I got I created a couple test alarms here, and you can see those. You scroll down to your project tree with the alarm manager. So this gives you an overview of all the alarms you have created in your project. So very easy to manage the alarms. You can right click on them, change the properties of it. Maybe you want to change your, what your message is, what the trip condition is, etc. Very, very easy to manage tag-based alarms. So let me trigger a few alarms, give you an idea how it works. So it's the first alarm. If I switch back to my emulator here, you see that Bob's test alarm 1 came up on the screen. So I had no programming in the Panelview at all to do that. It's all done in the controller. Then I could acknowledge that alarm, right? So we have these icons down the bottom here. There's the acknowledge one, the acknowledge button. There's the filter button. So say I want to create multiple filter conditions. I have a few created here. This one is for alarms that are active. So this is showing me alarms that are active right now. Then there's a help button here too. We have a bunch of icons here, the disable alarms and shelve alarms. So this little help icon really get you started, understand what some of those icons mean. And then the last thing that I want to demo is some of the diagnostic capabilities that are built in. So if I go back to this mixer screen, you see you got some shading going on with these buttons. Say try and click on that button, and it's for some reason it's not working. So you get that diagnostic indicator showing up that I had mentioned. And if I click on that red X, it's going to say I'm unable to perform that operation. That graphic element has been disabled through code. So those are kind of nice diagnostic features that you'll get with the Panelview 5000. So those are 3 key things I wanted to demo. Just switch back to my PowerPoint presentation. So as far as Panelview 5000 training, we have Rexel. We have demos to loan you to help you out, get you more hands-on experience. We have cloud-based demos. And we can it's called Rockwell cloud-based infrastructure, where we can reserve times for you to get into the cloud demos and get more hands-on experience with it, especially in our shutdown here, that help you get more hands-on experience with it. And then look for Rack Live coming June 10th and 19th. If you want more information, you can search rockautomation.com for Rack Live on all the labs that will be available and the training that's available. So it's another resource you can use for training. And then we're almost done here. We can start some question and answers, but just a closing thought. think about building more smart machines, and Rockwell and Rexel can help you do that. Think about modernizing your machine to have a legacy machine. Just don't do a one-for-one conversion. Think about how you can start to modernize that machine and make it more efficient. What it's really all about today, right? You want more uptime, make it more efficient, so you're more competitive. So with that, I guess, hey, John, I guess if we have any questions in the chat.
Yeah, great. Good job, Bob. Thanks. Josh has a few here. My old colleague, Ben Casto, I think answered it, Bob, but I wanted to still float it by you. Josh asked on the panel views, they reach the end of life. Will Machine Edition become discontinued and Studio 5000 View Designer become the primary software?
Yeah, so there's no plan to obsolete Panelview Pluses at this time. The installed base of Panelview Pluses is huge. So yeah, there's no plans to obsolete Panelview Pluses. They'll get a refresh in a couple years. So yeah, no plan to obsolete Panelview Pluses.
Alan has a question here. I know Steve Fry's on the line, but it's a Plant PAX. Would it automatically log the Plant PAX objects alarms? So again, Plant PAX being the modern DCS system that Rockwell has. So Alan's question is about automatically logging those object alarms.
Yeah, so as long as you're using the alarm A in the tag-based alarms, yeah, the Panelview 5000 is gonna display and enunciate that alarm in the alarm summary.
Okay, and then Josh has another question here. Screen count limitations, depending on the part number of the panel, are they similar to the Panelview 7? Are there screen count limitations depending on the part number of the panel?
Yes, so the 5310 is 100 screens, and yeah, I'm trying to recall off the top of my head on the 5510. I think they're all around 100 screens right now. One of the differences between the 5310 and 5510 is you get one controller for the 5310. So you're trying to communicate with two controllers, you have to move up to the 5510. We communicate up to 4 controllers. So that could be a consideration.
Okay. Ben's asking, is there a graphics library with the Panelview 5000? I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have over 1,000 graphic objects that are available, as well as the standard HMI objects.
Okay. And then if we want to open it up, if you want to unmute yourself, if you don't want to type in the chat, if anyone wants to just unmute themselves and ask the question, they're welcome to do that now. Okay, I know there's a poll that we just asked if people could complete the poll before they leave. Bob's contact information is up on the screen. We are willing to, as Bob said, get you a demo if you want to play around with it. You do need the PLC to actually physically play with it. But we also wanted to let you know, as Bob's mentioning here, we do have other seminars or webinars coming up here over the next 2 months. So look for those. And with that, I don't, Bob, do you have any thoughts or last follow-ups or anything?
No, yeah, I'd just like to thank everybody for attending. Just let me know, let John know if we can help you out. But, to get you up to speed and get you trained on Panelview 5000.
Okay, that's a wrap. Thank you.